Impromptu podcast session, take 3.
Yeah.
Back to Organized Voices. Okay, Jack is joining us once again. Jack Reichel, Frontline activist. He was in attendance yesterday at the Women's March Sacramento Vigil for RBG. And the question of this session is, where the hell were they during the other protests? Where were they during the civil rights movements and actions throughout the last 6 months of COVID? But all of a sudden you turned out for a Women's March. Now, granted, I haven't organized for Women's March, but I had the same question. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to let Jack finish his thoughts on what you've seen and what you saw last night, and what your guess may be as to why.
Okay, yeah. So I think it's definitely disheartening that the numbers showed out last night for a vigil, but they haven't showed out for protests. And one of the main things is because the person that you're there for a vigil for supposedly fought for civil rights and fought for the oppressed people, but then you don't go out to protests where that's actually happening, where it's happening live. People are in the streets they're on their last leg, saying there's nothing else to do. My people are being murdered in the streets. We're getting no justice. We have almost every hand of this government against us. So we are literally just in the streets trying to scream at the top of our lungs, saying, hey, this is an issue. This needs to change. And we don't get the numbers. And then one of the things I brought up when I was ranting on Instagram last night,
it's okay,
was that I said,
rant, I should say.
Yeah. So I was confused because I was saying, so I could bet almost $1 million if I had it that none of these people who are here tonight at the vigil were at the Trump rally this morning. So that tells me one thing: we're on the same side. We both have the same viewpoints on basic humanity right there.
Right.
But you don't come out to a protest where it's happening live, of people fighting for their civil rights, fighting for justice in the streets. You don't come out to those things. You only come out to a vigil when clearly you have not been giving as much as you can. Because if you can come out to a vigil in March, you could have come out to other things. You could have got involved. You could say it runs both sides, and that people from organizations that are on the ground should be extending arms to this and that to various people. But at the same time, it's kind of like, I have the kind of viewpoint, I think, where they should be reaching out to us because the people who are leading these movements are literally fighting for their lives.
They are, literally.
Literally fighting for their lives. These are majority black and brown people who are fighting for their lives, who are organizing these things in SAC. So it's like,